The second passage just exists to tell us about how awesome Eileen Gray is. She is meticulous in her work. You know, the lacquer is very time consuming and she was always concerned with all the details. And yet she is also holistic. All of those details add up to inform a unified whole. And in her architecture, in her career, she worked from the small to the large. And in her architecture, she worked in the same way. She worked from the inside to the outside, we're told in that third paragraph. So with a good firm grasp of what we've just read, I think we're ready to answer these questions. Question number 8, the main point of the passage, what we just read, that Eileen Gray was awesome, and she was awesome because she was meticulous and yet holistic. And with those kinds of answers, we can easily see why answer choice B is correct. It was exemplified, her work was exemplified by her work in lacquer. Why? Because she downplays the distinction between interior and exterior, it's holistic, and she seeks integral wholeness in a work of art. So we just double up on that holistic endeavor and using the lacquer as our example, and the lacquer, as we were told in the passage, very meticulous. Number 9, probably my favorite question. How do we know for sure that answer choice E is the right answer? Because it's in the text. I'm in line 37. She used modern materials such as tubular steel to do what? To create furniture and environments that, though visually austere, met their occupants' needs. So I want an example of something that is visually austere, but that is functional. And there's your answer choice E right there. Perfect, right? That's what we're looking for from the right answer. Something that we can derive direct proof from the passage. And number 10 is the same thing, and it draws on the same part of the passage. What do we know for sure about Gray's later work? Oh, no, it didn't. It just asked us, what do we know for sure? What do we know for sure? Well, one thing we know for sure is that Gray's work moved from the small to the large, that her later work was functional. It was furniture and then it was houses. So when answer choice E says much of Gray's later work was functional, we can go back to line 35. She was invested in the design of furniture. She was tailoring pieces to fit a particular environment. It wasn't just aesthetic. And again, as with question 9, I'm just repeating myself. You have to be able to go back to the passage and prove it. And that's what we've got here. And this is the kind of proof that we need. Just direct, explicit textual support. For number 11, that same theme. Can we show it in the passage? And answer choice C is correct. Why? Because in order for it to be correct, we'd have to be able to go back to the passage and answer that question. Can we answer question C? Were the motifs of traditional lacquer similar to those of Art Nouveau? Well, we did talk about Art Nouveau, and here's what we said. I'm in line 15. Gray eschewed the flowing leafy lines of Art Nouveau, preferring the austere beauty of straight lines and simple forms that she used in lacquer. So we know that there is a difference between them. They are not very similar. So is answer choice C correct? Yes, because we can say with certainty, based on the last part of the first paragraph, that the artistic motifs were not similar between lacquer and Art Nouveau. And we know exactly in what way they were dissimilar. That's how you structure a right answer. I thought question 12 was the hardest one in this passage. And partly because none of the answers I thought were like horrible, but if we're going to pick an answer, we have to, again, you're getting so sick of hearing me say this, we have to have that direct support from the passage. And why is answer choice A correct? Because in line 11, we are told that this lacquer technique was little known in Europe. So she was for sure using answer choice A, an aesthetic philosophy and materials that set her work apart from many of her contemporaries. It was a style that hardly anybody knew about. It was little known. And that's the support that we need. If we don't have that, it's not the right answer. For question 13, the principles informing Gray's work, that's in that last paragraph. And I'd point to line 45. She designed the interior elements together with the more permanent structure as an integrated whole. And this is interesting. Architecture was like lacquer. It could only be achieved from the inside out. And this is that passage we were talking about earlier, right? Where she moved from the small to the large in her career. She also moved from the inside to the outside in her architecture. A principle that informed her work then in answer choice B, the interior features are essential factors in the overall structural design. It can only be designed from the inside out. You see that? It's got to be in the passage. That's how you know you got the right answer. Ugh, 14. How on earth is answer choice C correct? What did we ever say about the public? And I loved the way that answer choice C looked. I mean, I wanted to choose it because it's just so nebulous and mushy. It seems right. But where does the passage say that? Line 1. In line 1, it says it. It took me forever to get there because I view that first line as just background, right? Just telling me who Eileen Gray is. But there's a little nugget of information there. She is best known for her work with lacquer. So we know absolutely, for sure, that the public is more familiar with her lacquer, her earlier work, than it is with her later architectural work, and that is why answer choice C is correct. And that's the thing. As frustrating as it may sometimes be, the answer is there in the passage. And that finishes off this second passage.